to Short Film Saturday. I know we had a little bit of a hold up today, but we had to get the anticipation going. We have such great films today, and I just know everyone is going to enjoy them so much. Before I get into our films and filmmakers, let me tell you a little bit about our company and about your host, me. I'm 𝗬𝗓𝗕𝗓𝗧. I'm the community growth manager here at Soleil Space. And at Soleil, our mission is to achieve a more equitable and representative global media landscape through film, television, and branded content. Our focus is on the global diasporas of Asia, Africa, Latin America, the Caribbean, and the Middle East, with goals of elevating those untold stories from these cultures, forming closer transcultural community bonds, and providing opportunities and resources for our creators to produce premium world-class content. We specialize in long-form scripted, documentary film, television, and branded short-form digital content, and we aim to uplift those underrepresented voices, and there's no better way to do that than with short films. Shorts are often the purest form of artistic expression, and often, but not always, executed within the boundaries of smaller production budgets. Since launching Short Film Saturdays in late summer of 2021, we have featured 53 films from 43 filmmakers in 21 countries to date. And we are adding on to those numbers today with our two guests, Mahak Jiwani from Pakistan and Pablo Zapata from Venezuela. So let me tell you a little bit about our two amazing filmmakers. Originally from Pakistan, Mahak Jiwani is a producer and writer based in New York. A graduate of the creative producing program at Columbia University's Graduate School of Arts, Jiwani has produced short films all over the world, including in the US, Japan, Chile, and Pakistan. In 2019, she produced Darling, which we're watching today, and this won the 𝗟𝗟𝗓𝗦𝗢𝗡𝗦 Award for Best Short Film at Venice Film Festival, a first for a Pakistani film. The film also screened at Toronto International Film Festival and was awarded special jury recognition at South by Southwest 2020. Jiwani is currently an associate producer and creative executive at Jigsaw Productions, splitting time between the documentary and scripted departments and developing features set in Chile and Australia. Welcome, Mahak. Let's hear a little bit about Pablo. Pablo Zapata is a filmmaker and musician from Venezuela, based in Buenos Aires, Argentina. He studied arts and film at the Universidad Central de Venezuela. His current work is based on an artistic investigation about the perception of identity and time that characterizes migratory processes in the current Venezuelan Exodus. Very cool. His cinematographic work has been exhibited and awarded in numerous festivals around the world, such as the Human Rights International Film Festival of Buenos Aires and FINCA International Environmental Film Festival, among others. For several years, he's worked as a human rights volunteer in the Venezuelan prisons, as a filmmaker and instructor of penitentiary film through the 𝗜𝗟𝗟𝗨𝗦𝗢𝗡𝗦 Club, directed by the well-known documentary filmmaker and social worker, Livia Montes. He attended film workshops dictated by filmmaker 𝗦𝗢𝗖𝗜𝗘𝗧𝗔, the French documentarist François Cayat, and acclaimed filmmakers Werner Herzog and David Lynch. Welcome, Pablo. So, quick thing to know about Pablo's film today: it is a Spanish language film, and we are going to be playing it without subtitles today. So for our English speaking audience, do not go anywhere. Still watch and enjoy this film. It's a very highly visual film. It's an experimental film. You won't miss anything. You're still gonna enjoy it 400%. But of course, after we have our Q&A, where Pablo is going to get in depth into the storyline and make sure that everyone is fully aware of everything that happened in this awesome film. So first, Pablo, I'm gonna toss it over to you. If you could say a few words about the film we're about to watch, El Hijo.
Hola, hello. And Pablo. Yes, the song El Hijo, it's a story, a short film inspired in a short tale written by Horacio Quiroga. He was a writer from Uruguay, but he lives in Argentina, in the rainforest, in the jungle, in the Amazonia. And he wrote this story about a father and a son. So I make an adaptation of this short tale. It's a writer like 𝗟𝗟𝗓𝗨𝗦𝗢𝗢 Poe. It's our 𝗟𝗟𝗓𝗨𝗦𝗢𝗢 Poe. He wrote a lot of horror tales, and so I like very much, and I make an adaptation.
Very cool. We are so excited to watch it. Mahak, I'm going to toss it over to you. Can you tell us a little bit about the film we're going to be watching, 𝗓𝗓𝗓?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Mahak, and the film you're going to be watching is, I think it's really fun. There's a song and dance, and just looking forward to you all seeing it.
Very, very cool. All right, everyone. So don't go anywhere. We're going to watch the films now, and then we'll come back for a Q&A. This is YouTube, so don't forget to like and subscribe, all that jazz. You know how it goes. And with that, let's go ahead and watch those films. Alrighty, everyone, welcome back. We are here, Short Film Saturday, with Mahak, Jiwani, and Pablo Zapata. We just watched their amazing films, 𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓 and 𝗑𝗟𝗟𝗨𝗦𝗓𝗢, respectively. And I saw y'all in the comments. We're enjoying these films, and I am so happy to see that. You know, it warms my heart. So now we're gonna dive into the Q&A because we got questions, right? Don't worry, I am taking audience questions, but not till the end. So hold on to your questions until I ask for them, and then you guys can send away. So we're gonna do our Q&A in the order that we watch the films. Mahak, we're gonna start with you on 𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓. So a lot of unconventional things happening today on Short Film Saturday. Mahak is actually the producer of 𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓, not the director. We usually have our directors on, but today we're doing something a little different. I think it's going to be really cool. So we get to talk about slightly different aspects of filmmaking with you, Mahak. So can you explain to those who may not know what your role is as a creative producer and how the collaboration with the director works from your perspective?
Sure. First, thank you for inviting me on, and thank you for watching the film, everyone. I think, so it depends on who I'm working with, and it's different every time, but usually as a producer, I would like to be on from the beginning, and some of the directors that I've worked with, we've either come up with an idea together, something that we were both interested in telling, or a story that we were both interested in telling. Sometimes it's different. Sometimes I come on board once the script is already written, but it's not finalized, and then I just sort of work with the director to get it to the finish line. After that, it's more about getting into casting and figuring out the budget and figuring out where we're going to shoot it. With short films, especially, so much of it is dependent on the budget that you have, because it's not, you don't always have a lot of money. And 𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓 was different because we did have a bigger budget as compared to other films, I guess. But some of the other films that I've done, we have had much smaller budgets, and it's the budget really just dictates the script, and it's much more of a collaborative process of being this is how much we can afford, and then rewriting the script based on that. And yeah, so it's pretty much with short films, it's pretty much from the beginning that I've been in the process, and then making the film, and then figuring out what we're gonna do with the film. Because with short films, it's there's the festivals, then there's distribution, and figuring out all of that too. So yeah, I'm sort of there from the beginning until I guess 2 years later, you're still kind of doing those things. So, but yeah.
I'm on mute. Very cool. So for 𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓, at what point in production did you get involved?
So Simon and I went to grad school together, and we were in the same screenwriting class, and Simon was writing a feature script, which was based in a similar world. His feature script actually was at Cannes Film Festival recently, and before doing the feature, he wanted to do a short film just to like, explore the characters and the world a little bit. So I was there from pretty much the beginning and, worked through the script with him and the co-writer, another person from Colombia. And then it was his thesis film. I had already graduated by that time, but we sort of kept working on it. So I was there from the beginning.
Very nice. So then the beginning, meaning this is then after the script is written?
No, like from before the script was written, we were in so it started really in a screenwriting class. So from the genesis of the idea and then, working on the script together, like having a class sort of helped because like you were just all there and you were talking about the script anyway.
Yeah.
So from the genesis of the idea, I would say.
Okay, so then in hearing Saeem talk about the idea for this film, what about the story really made you want to jump in and produce it?
I think it's just a very different view of the world that I live in, or came from. And I think a lot of the stories that you see about Pakistan are very much either they're made very exotic or they're trauma porn, to say. And this was like looking at it and looking at the country and like a very small section of what's happening in the country, of course, but looking at it very honestly and not and like showing the problems, but also the joys of being there and showing the contradictions that exist in the society without, demonizing anyone, without judging anyone. So that's sort of what was interesting to me. And we haven't really, when we were doing this film or starting to do this film, we hadn't really seen a transgender character placed in the spotlight and not, and like being treated as a human being. So that's sort of what was interesting to me. And yeah, it was just the world and the characters, which I was very familiar with, but I hadn't seen it that way on screen. That's what made it attractive.
Yes, it's definitely a very nuanced portrayal, and it's absolutely amazing to see. So I do want to dive into this central character of Darling, our transgender woman. And so for those in the audience who may not be familiar with Pakistani culture, can you contextualize this character for us? How, generally speaking, I suppose, how are transgender people viewed and treated in Pakistan? Is it a safe place to be a transgender woman? Can you dive into that a little bit for us?
So I actually haven't really lived in Pakistan for the past 7 years. So my view is a little bit tainted now in that sense. But growing up, it's not the same as how it is in the West. It's transgender people are part of the norm, like you see them around. But that isn't to say that they are humanized. Sometimes there's like this myth about if someone who's a transgender, and also I don't think it's like the correct terms as we know them in the West. Like those things are not really differentiated back home, right? Like intersex versus transgender, none of those things are really differentiated in that sense, at least not when I was growing up. But it's sort of like there's this like myth that if someone who's trans, or intersex, I guess, if they pray for you, it's great because the prayer is going to come true. So they're either viewed as this person who has this direct line to God, or they're demonized. It's not the same kind of discrimination as it is in the West, but it's discrimination nonetheless, and it's not necessarily safe for them to be out and about, even if they are more of a part of the society than you would see here. Now it's different, but like say 5 or 6 years ago even. But it has changed a lot. I think a lot of it is because of the activism that the community is doing themselves, and it is improving constantly, which is good, but not to say that that it's great or rosy. But yeah, like there's of course always room for improvement.
Very interesting. Okay, so then I understand you are integral in creating a film festival strategy. So again, with having a producer on, we're getting to dive into some parts of filmmaking that we don't usually get to talk about on Short Film Saturday. Can you tell us a little bit about making that strategy and about how the film festival circuit ultimately went for Darling?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is even before you start making the film, sort of deciding at that point, like how much money you want to spend on film festivals, because they are expensive to apply to. So there is like the money aspect of it, and then deciding, depending on the kind of film you have, like what festivals are best. Because like if you're making a fantasy or a horror film, there are like specific festivals that are really that have huge audiences and that have like specific audiences in the horror world, and they're like great festivals that you would want to go to. And then, but like for example, with Darling, it was I don't know why, but I always thought that Venice would be a good place for it, just because of the story and the way it's done. And that sort of was our beginning of the festival strategy. Like if a festival like Venice would require world premiere, so we could only apply to, like we had to apply to it first, and then seeing what comes after, and seeing how many festivals we can afford to submit, and writing to most festivals and being like, hey, like we played at Venice, we would love to play at your festival. And is there a way that, you know, we could get a discount or something like that? Because like Darling was a student film, and a lot of short films are student films, and you know, there's not a lot of money to go around, I guess. So, you know, it's always good to figure out how you can stretch that money and, you know, make it go as far as possible. The way I've done festival strategies for films is like keeping tier 1 festivals for the first year and seeing if you get into any of them. And if you don't, then start applying everywhere else. So it is a slower timeline because you're sort of like waiting for the first year festivals for the first year. But, you know, if you have a good film, I think it's worth doing that. But yeah, that's sort of how we go about it.
Very cool. So then with that, we're going to hop over to 𝗟𝗟𝗣𝗑, and then we're going to bring it back to ask questions to both of you as well. So to start us off, Pablo, can you, specifically for the English speakers in the audience, can you kind of run through the story of 𝗟𝗟𝗣𝗑 and let everyone know, I guess, what they've just watched?
Sorry for the subtitles, but it's a very simple story. It's about a father who lives with his son in the jungle, and one day the son wants to hunt by hunt alone, you know, because he has 13 years and he's growing up, and now he's not a child anymore, and it's a kind of challenge, yeah, to hunt by himself in the jungle. And the father trusts him, but he's obviously very, very paranoid, you know, because the jungle is a very dangerous place. You have jaguars, crocodiles, tarantula, and that's a very difficult place to live. So the son goes to hunt in the jungle, and the father has some problem of hallucinations, and in his minds he began to think about the danger of the jungle, and he began to see his son dying in the jungle. He's very paranoid. This kind of hallucination I mixed with dreams and remember of his wife. He has a wife. She's in the story. She's obviously dead, like his friend, with a shot in his head. I make a mix. I like to see my work as a collage. I read in the question that someone told something about rendering. I mix techniques, video rendering in 3D animation, and some other things. So it's a collage of time, collage of space.
Very, very awesome. Yeah, we loved it. And definitely the mixed media was quite seamless, so a lot of the times, like with the rendering, you wouldn't immediately go, oh, that's like not real. It would take a minute. You go, wait a minute, actually. And so that was a very cool thing about it.
Yeah.
So then what was the initial inspiration behind El Hijo?
See, I really like a lot this writer, Horacio Quiroga. I told before that he's like Edgar Allan Poe from Latin America. He's a very important writer, horror, short tale writer, and I like a lot. So one day I was in Argentina with my wife, and I was visiting the museum of Horacio Quiroga in the Amazonian rainforest. It's in Misiones in Argentina. So I decided to make someday a short film to Horacio Quiroga. So I adapt this story. The story is called El Hijo, the son, but I mix with the real life of Horacio Quiroga. He's almost like Ernest Hemingway, because he was cursed like Hemingway family, his father, his son, his wife kill themselves. They commit suicide. So he has a very tragic life, like Hemingway, and I like that to obviously to inspire me, so I make a mix with his life and the story, and my own dreams and my own point of view.
Very nice. So El Hijo is full of, it's like a mirage of interesting and insane visuals throughout. So why did you choose to tell this story in an experimental way? Why not just do a more straightforward narrative, or even, I don't know, a documentary? Why specifically experimental film?
Yeah, I like to improvise. So I began with some shots, video shots. Then I start to realize that to do the story that I want, I need a lot of money, because it's in the jungle, because so I began to think on how to resolve this problem. And so and I am also a graphic designer, a musician, and editor, so I can make this collage like it's like cooking, when you open the refrigerator, you only see some ingredients, some vegetables, and you improvise and you make something. And you, it's like that I like to work.
So was there a script for this?
Yeah, I write a script. The final film is not 10% like a script. It has almost 50% maybe, because the process to make this short film was very long. Also the pandemic situation, and was very hard to finish. So I don't know, was very, it's like a jam, you know, when you play music with some friends, and I have obviously friends that believe in my work, and they help me a lot, like the actor, like a friend who do with me the cinematography and things like that.
Very nice. So then diving into, I guess, the meat of the story, fatherhood is a major thematic premise in 𝗟𝗟𝗧𝗔, and we have visuals, a lot of mythology visuals in there. So like the painting of Saturn devouring his son. So what is 𝗟𝗟𝗧𝗔 expressing about fatherhood?
It's a difficult question. You know, I have a very good relationship with my father. He's very important for me, and I don't know, in some way I don't know, I'm not a father, but I'm a son, so I can put myself in his shoes and feels what he feels, you know. And yeah, it was an experiment also of feelings.
Yeah. So then to bring this into cultural context as well, how is parenthood or fatherhood viewed and treated in Venezuela? It's a very general question, so you can really go at it however you want.
Yeah. In Venezuela, you know, the mother is very important member of the family. I think it's the most important member. Is my mother is, you know, the boss, and my grandmother was also the boss of the family. And parenthood, another difficult question. Is I believe that it's almost like in everywhere. I don't know. We are not so different from Europe, from Spain. We had a lot of culture, mixed culture from Africa, from white, from Aborigine native, from America, from Latin America. So I don't know, we are a mix of everything.
Very nice. So then I'm sure, and we saw this in the comments quite a bit, the choice of black and white for this film, very bold. How and why did you come to decide on this very dramatic monochrome look?
I guess it's a technique. I need to make something similar between all the kind of cameras I used and all the kind of animation I made. So I need to have not so many colors. And you know, the jungle, everyone knows that the jungle is green. It has no, it's not important to show the green of the jungle. Yes, it's more important to show the darkness and the shades of the jungle. It's more important than the color. The color maybe it's not important for the story. And I see dreams maybe like in black and white sometimes. No, maybe it's my head or my dream like this.
Wait, no.
More
Wait a minute, no.
expressionist also, you know?
I have
It's more
never dreamed in
expressionist.
black and white.
Are
Mahak,
you
have
sure?
you dreamed in black and white before?
I never remember my dreams, so I have like no idea.
All right, everyone in the comments, please let me know if you have ever had a dream in black and white before. I'm so curious now because I've never had that. That's very interesting. That's very interesting that you had dreams in black and white.
And colors
That
also.
is now separate from Short Film Saturday. I'm very interested in that.
I dream a lot.
Okay.
I like it.
I mean, that makes sense. I believe that. So then, what is the importance of the clock? Because we are introduced to the clock very early on in the film, and then we have a lot of clock symbolism, even with the moon, because there was once a point where we were using the moon as a sort of calendar clock. So we're seeing a lot of different forms of clock symbolism throughout. What is the significance of that, please?
I don't know. It's I really like the clock, because it's I don't believe in time as time, chronological time. I'm trying to maybe not to answer any question, but to confuse. I think it's my mission is to confuse the in the film. But the clock is important. My grandfather was how do you say, people that work with clocks, that
like a
relojeros in Spanish, I don't know.
I guess a clockmaker, like a clock tinker, something like that.
That's right. My grandfather was a clock ticker.
Tinker, like TINKER.
Okay.
I'm gonna be making word up though.
And this character of the man with the hat and the bear, he's in a labyrinth. His mind is a labyrinth, and time is, like going around all the time. It's like a loop, eternal loop. He's in a space, in a place, living forever the same day, and repeat it again and repeat and repeat. Like so the clock is the clock is, he comes to the 12th and begin again and end and begin. Yeah, it's a loop. I like loops.
Okay, very nice. Mahak, did you have a question? Sorry, I heard you say something.
No, I just said like Groundhog Day.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Groundhog Day. This is the fit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a few questions for the both of you. What kinds of art, so anything, music, paintings, movie, theater, etc. And so what kinds of art and what kinds of artists do each of you find most inspiring to your filmmaking? Mahak, I'll let you take this one first.
Yeah.
I guess with New York, like I did have a lot of access to theater, which was great. Just being able to see live performances, which I think it was always good to just be like, all right, I'm just gonna go see a show, and afterwards you're always like, oh, okay, we can make something fun. And after the pandemic, there's been a lot of like experimental things that have been going on with theater, so that's been pretty cool. I do like to go to museums just to see different kinds of work, which is, it's just like gives you inspiration for I don't know, like a theme or a topic or something like that. I I had seen this exhibition. This was a while ago in Chicago about, and I forget the artist's name, but it was sort of like this mixed media art installation about mining in Africa and like mining metals in Africa and what it does to what it means for the international industry, but what it also means for the locals and how it actually affects them. And it was just done in like beautiful tapestries and, you know, video installations and things like that. And then you realize, oh, this is like a crazy important topic. But just like seeing the different ways of exploring what matters in the world, I guess, is inspiring. And reading. I read a lot of books. I hope that's helpful.
Nice. And Pablo, what about you?
Yeah, art. I like everything about art. I like all kind of arts, obviously to read. Poetry for me is very important. Music is, I love it. Architecture, everything, but in cinema and film, I like the work of the kind of artists that have this freedom to create his own world. Someone write in the comments something about David Lynch. For me, it's an honor, you know, because Lynch for me is a master, and I love him a lot. He's a master, and also others filmmakers like 𝗑𝗟𝗧𝗔𝗟, Bergman, Buñuel. I like filmmakers that create his own world in dreaming way or oniric way, yeah. And obviously I like a lot of musicians like Lou Reed is my favorite musician from New York, and Laurie Anderson, Patti Smith. I don't know, a lot of, yeah. Edgar Allan Poe, obviously.
Very nice. Very nice. So another question for both of you. What was the audience response to each of your films in your home countries versus abroad? So Mahak, we'll start with you again. Audience response in Pakistan versus anywhere else.
I think that generally it was positive in both places. I mean, internationally, like at festivals and stuff, everyone really liked the film. It was fun to watch. It was also a different perspective to what a lot of people had seen. The film came out like about 3 years ago now, so it's been a little while. And in Pakistan, it was the same. I think everyone really liked seeing. We have the filmmaking community in Pakistan is smaller compared to, say, India, I guess, since that is the closest industry. So it was just, I think everyone was just excited to see a film that was different, a film that was like having fun with everything culturally, but also like showing a different perspective of the world. And generally, it was just positive all around.
Very nice. That's so wonderful to hear. Pablo, how about you? What was the response in Venezuela versus elsewhere?
Yeah, I think that Venezuela, the response was very good also. You know, I was living in Argentina for the last 7 years. So I had to say I'm from Venezuela, but my work is made in Argentina. So I'm from both places, you know. Now I'm in Madrid right now. I'm moving to London, so I like to think about this because I born in Venezuela, but I'm not from one specific place, you know. I like to be from every places that I like. So, but in Venezuela was very good. The short film won awards, and in Argentina also. So it's fine. And now in the United States, oh, cool.
Fantastic. That is so great.
Yeah.
So it's the moment you all been waiting for. I am opening the floor to audience questions. Everyone go ahead and submit your questions now in the chat, and I will pick out a few to ask to Pablo and Mahak. While I'm giving you all a little bit of time to type, I want to ask the two of you, what is next for you? What projects should we be looking out for? Pablo, you go ahead and take this one first this time.
Okay. My next project is my first feature film. In this moment, I just finished to write the script, but I want to change some things. And yes, it's the most important project for my next year. It's my first feature film. Yeah.
Awesome, congratulations. We're super excited to hear that. Mahak, what do you have in the works?
I am working with another director who was, I think, at Soleil like maybe last week or a couple of weeks ago, 𝗧𝗕𝗢𝗦𝗓. So I'm working with her on a feature film, and then I'm working like trying to develop and sell some TV series. I'm sorry, there's like a construction going on. I don't know if you can hear that.
No worries.
And yeah, just like working on a lot more TV series and films and trying to get those set up.
Wonderful, super glad to hear that. And we're happy to hear Letitia's working on some more stuff too. Wonderful, alrighty. So while we're giving people a little bit more time to write their questions, I also want to know, and I'm sure the audience members want to know, how can we keep up with you? What is the best way for us to know everything you have going on? So whether that be Instagram or Twitter or a website or just your IMDb page, how can audience members keep up with the two of you? Pablo, I'll let you take this one first.
Sure. I have a website with all my works, films, videos, and some other things. The website is 𝗧𝗛𝗘𝗦𝗢𝗡𝗦. It's easy. Zapata is my name. films.com. You can watch everything in this website.
Perfect. All right, everyone, 𝗧𝗛𝗘𝗦𝗢𝗡𝗦.com. Be sure to check that out. And Mahak, how can we keep up with you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, and then I don't have a website, but I guess IMDb and Instagram.
And what is your Instagram handle so everyone knows?
It's my name, Mahak Jiwani.
Perfect, easy peasy, and we'll have it in the description below, both Pablo's website and Mahak's Instagram account. And with that, let's check out these comments. All right, guys, these are a lot of comments, which is a good thing. I'm not complaining, I promise. All righty. So let's start with a question from our friend Mika. There have been series challenging gender stereotypes in Pakistan that were very controversial. Did you guys experience any backlash from the Muslim community, especially?
I haven't really, not in that sense. Like I don't think I've heard from anyone who's been like, oh, this is not right. Most people who have seen the film have been excited to see it. And I also think a part of it is that, like, when you entertain people and you're not really like preaching them that this is how they should be, or this is what they should do, and which I think is one of the main things about making any kind of film that is, or a TV series or whatever that is meant to be seen by an audience, like understanding that audience and finding ways to like sort of like hide the medicine, or you know, that sort of thing. Like I think when you're entertaining people, a lot of them forget to be angry about things, and I think it's sort of like much later that they realize, oh, this is what we watched and that was totally fine. And I think this is what the short and like Simon and the team was very successful in doing, that like you are not necessarily being preached about. So you're just like, oh, this is just like a relationship, and there's like song and dance, and like, you know, you get caught up in the characters and you don't necessarily go into the detail of it much later. So I think that was something that we were very conscious about from the beginning. And like, I don't think I've like heard from anyone who's been totally against the film, which I think is good. I mean, people have questions and people have comments, but it's nothing where there have been protests or whatever, like nothing like that.
That is so great. So actually, I want to hop on, so like kind of piggybacking off of that question, we have a question from Privy Life. So I'm assuming the answer is going to be no, but I still want to ask this question just to get into it a bit. But usually films made like these in some countries will raise safety issues for the film crew and cast. Did you experience any of this? And so yeah, first I'll start with that. So you guys did not experience any kind of safety concerns?
No, I mean, I think one film was very contained in one location, so we were inside most of the time, and it's like there wasn't any kind of safety concerns, but we were careful before shooting that we were not like talking about it with everyone and like making it a big deal before and giving people to suspect or like, not suspect is not the right word, giving people a reason to be alarmed before the film was made, right? We were careful about that. And then like, I think I don't think like there's anything in there that necessarily would have created a fuss. And we were careful about like where we are shooting and things that are not going to be, you know, against the like culture or against the like, basically trying to figure out how to stay within the bounds of the place that we're in, but still telling a story that is true to what we want to tell. So no.
Okay, very interesting. Okay, I do think it was smart to just to take those safety precautions, because you never know who's going to be listening. But I'm so glad that there were no like incidents and the cast and crew was able to stay safe and make this amazing film. So Pablo, next we have a question for you from Shreya Mohan. How long did it take to conceptualize and create El Hijo?
How long? How many years? From the very beginning, was in 2014. I don't know, we are maybe 6 years, 7 years, maybe, yeah. I don't know, I'm not good in math. You know,
no worries. So then why, what is the timeline like? So like, was the idea conceptualized and then you had to wait for a while? Why did it take so long?
Yeah, in the first place, I took a decision. Okay, I'm gonna make a short film from one short tale from Horacio Quiroga. So I was reading again Horacio Quiroga, that he has very good tales, horror tales, and I decided from this one because it's not so famous, and he's a short, he's a tale that is not in any books that he writes. So it's like a song, you know. This tale is not in a book safely. It's in a like in a jungle alone, you know. So I took this tale, and then I write the script, obviously, and the script is not so change every time things, you know. I spoke with my actor, with Ruben. It's my friend and the main actor. He's from Argentina, and he begins to transform himself in his father also, you know, because he has a very important relation with his father as well. And then we began to make some video shots in a fake jungle in Argentina, a place with a lot of trees, you know. And so then yes, maybe 7 years doing things, but when I had all the materials recorded, films, all the material, I began to the edition. That is a very important part for me, because I'm also an editor. So I began to edit all this material that I have, and maybe in 6 months, something like that, I finish all the work. It was very hard because I was with my wife in Buenos Aires, with the pandemic and all this situation. I want to give up the short film. Now I can finish this work because it was very difficult for the money, for a lot of things. So in 6 months I finished the work, and that's it.
Okay, wow. So kind of a slow start, and then at the end everything ramped up, huh?
Yeah, it's not so, you know, it's like
yeah.
yeah.
So we have another.
Meanwhile,
I think this is a very fun question from Mario Ose. What's the craziest interpretation you've heard of your film, or did everyone just accept it the way you portrayed it?
I love when people make interpretation of my work, because I don't even know the truth about my story, you know, because the moment was unique. And when you are creating something, this feeling is different for the next feeling. Yeah. So I remember obviously things about this moment, about the intention of my story, but I have not all the answers. I have more questions indeed.
More questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. That makes sense. That's very interesting. Alrighty. I'm going to take one more question for Mahak and one more question for Pablo, and then we'll let it be done because we have to respect our wonderful filmmakers' time. So I have a question from CJ. Mahak, why do you think we aren't seeing more films like Darling being shown? So earlier you were speaking how this is not the typical view of Pakistan that we get to see. Why do you think that is?
I mean, I think it is changing though. Like there is a lot more films from Pakistani filmmakers that are being shown at the international stage. I think some of it was because we weren't seeing films from Pakistan were not being exported internationally. Like there aren't a lot of avenues for those films to make it to festivals. One, because we didn't make a lot of films, and two, because it's a whole process, it's hard, and it's not something that you know instinctively how to do. It sort of is like taught, and those resources are not always available to a lot of filmmakers. I think it's changing. I think there are a lot more filmmakers, not just from Pakistan, but I think other marginalized places and communities who are getting more exposure internationally as the industry is reckoning with what's happening, in the world. I think it's going to take time, and we're going to see more films. I mean, Saim's film, the feature version of this film was at Cannes this year. Another short filmmaker from Pakistan, 𝗬𝗟𝗓𝗦𝗢𝗡𝗦, who's really great. Her short film was at Venice, and then it's on New Yorker right now. It's called Sandstorm. If anyone wants to see it, it's really good. And then another filmmaker. I think the younger generation is definitely making a lot more successful films that are going everywhere. So I think we'll see more of it. Just short thing of that, yeah.
Definitely. We've got a lot of great new films coming out, so we're very excited to watch all of them. And then our last question for Pablo from Medio Digital. So, okay, before I read their question, I think this context is coming very much because Elijo, we don't know the exact time period, but it's very clear that it was set, it's set in the past, right? No technology. So our question from Medio Digital is, if you made a futuristic movie, now we're going all the way on the other end of the spectrum, would you go for a dystopic future or a hopeful future? So you go for something more dystopian and depressing, or a more, I don't know, happy, hopeful future?
Yeah, I like the contrast between both. I like David Lynch, the story of David Lynch, his films are like a simple story of love, but in the same time are very dark, and I like a lot this contrast between the light and the shades, and I'm gonna say both. Yeah.
Okay, I like that answer. That is not what I was expecting. That is a very cool answer. Alrighty, so that is it for audience questions. We are all done today. Mahak and Pablo, thank you so much for joining us today. I want to say thank you to the audience members for sticking around, asking all these great questions, enjoying these amazing films, and giving your comments as well. We love reading those comments, for real. So that is it for us this week. We will see everyone next week. And make sure you are liking this video. Everyone, make sure you subscribe, because we have so many more cool Short Film Saturday episodes with other amazing, fun, cool filmmakers, and I do not want you guys to miss any of it. Again, big thank you to Mahak and Pablo, and we will see you all next time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.